This is Nerd Hat.
This is Nerd Hat.
This is Nerd Hat.
Nerd Hatters.
Good evening.
Our fans are now officially the Nerd Hatters because they didn't protest.
Why yes to that?
I like it.
It's a Batman reference.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the few of our fans who don't know what Batman is will be
Me?
like,
How dare you?
yeah, I was like, are you really our fans? Oh, but yes, you are. You don't have to love Batman to be on this podcast. You don't have to love Batman to be a host on this podcast.
So confused.
So, like, the one fan that doesn't know who Batman's Mad Hatter is probably like my mom.
I don't.
Oh,
like
yeah,
where
maybe.
this is going.
If your mom's actually listening.
No, she's just not. I'm just joking.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
We're
Well,
talking about the Crow, that little
Oh.
robot from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
oh, I haven't watched enough of that. I think I might know which character that is, but I've never watched a full episode of that.
I need to take time off work so I can initiate you.
Yeah.
Hold on,
yeah.
I am going to sneeze.
You know, you can turn your mic off if you have to.
Like my
Just like,
sneeze
boop.
wouldn't be held. Wouldn't I mean it would carry to the other mics.
True, but not as loud.
Offensive.
It was a cute sneeze. My sneezes were like...
That's what I needed to hear.
I have manly sneezes.
Manly sneeze.
Manly sneezes.
That's right. They're loud and authoritative, although not as loud as Laura's. Hers are more manly than mine.
You are welcome. You are welcome. You both are welcome.
Held back then.
I did. I absolutely did. Sounds like an exorcism every time I sneeze.
God bless you.
No, it's
Demon, stay out.
yeah, it's a mess.
Get rid of those demons. Run away. Speaking of demons running away. No.
What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, technically, this film doesn't have a demon per se, or at least I don't know if they show up in the comics version of The Crow or not, but it did not show up in this film, at least not that I noticed. Did you notice a demon?
Well, I noticed an angel, which is apparently at the end of the film, but I don't want to give that away just yet. But anyway,
I missed that.
demons? I don't know. Is Eric Draven considered a demon?
No, he'd be closer to a
Avenging angel?
zombie superhero, I guess.
That's true.
Deadpool-ish, perhaps, although he's only alive for a specific period of time.
Eric,
So
we're not talking about Deadpool, right?
we're jumping around. We should tell Laura what this movie is about.
I'm very lost as usual. Hold on. Don't say anything. I have questions.
Uh-huh.
You just saw this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, we both just saw it for the first time.
So, okay.
Sorry,
So,
Brandon Lee, rest his soul.
so is this like, did this movie just come out or is it? No, it isn't.
Well,
okay.
surprisingly, in August, a reboot came out to theaters. And
Yeah.
I did not know about it.
It has bombed royally.
It bombed. Royally.
It bombed.
Well, no wonder I didn't hear about it. No, this film is from what, 94?
Yeah, this is the 30th anniversary. This year is the 30th anniversary of the release.
And might I say, this is the most 90s comic book movie I've ever seen.
It's very 90s. Yeah.
Watching it, I could tell this was based on a comic book.
Oh, yes.
I could taste the comic book.
Ew.
I could smell its mustiness.
I am intrigued. Continue.
So
Well, that depends on whether or not you like late 80s, early 90s superhero dark.
If it's truly vintage, yes.
Yeah,
If it's trying too hard, absolutely not.
It was first published the year you were born, 1989.
Okay, good. You do remember
89.
when I was born. Thank you.
Yeah. I should probably edit that out later. You don't want people knowing how old you are, do you?
Who cares? I don't care.
I'm surprised you were born in the 80s. I'm sorry.
Just barely.
I thought
Wow,
you were
both of you are
younger.
in for hurting my feelings. Are you serious?
You were almost a
Welcome to the
90s
80s
baby.
Club.
Welcome. I am so offended. I have never not wanted to actually not punch you. Just now. Just
me.
now.
Good.
I'm not going to. You're too sweet. I'm not going to do that. Dang. Wait, you thought I was older or younger?
Barely made it.
I
My
still
favorite decade.
You made it by about 3 months.
made what? Made what?
You were an 80s baby by 3 months.
Yes, I
Like,
was. Yes, I
squeaked
was.
in at the last minute.
See, it's not a competition. You guys you didn't get to choose when you were born.
90s is second best.
I'm not a 90s baby though.
No, you're not.
I am upset. Let's edit out this whole thing.
were.
You know, I just do this on the podcast to
No, you're
make
not.
people laugh.
No, this is you in real life.
Yeah, this
you.
is Will's true
No,
self.
I don't do this.
The self that goes throughout the rest of his life is wearing a mask.
So you say.
I don't know if I have a real face. All of the masks are masks.
This is Will's Batman when he's here on this podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Bruce Wayne is when you're in the rest of your life.
Wait, so you thought how much younger did you thought I was?
I don't know. I thought
Say
you
it,
were like
Will.
10 years younger than Richard. And I didn't.
Damn! Really?
I didn't do the math.
Wait, why do you think I'm we have to edit this out.
I'm
But
surprised
no,
you
I'm
forgot
really
this.
curious. Why do you think
What?
you
You're
think
not?
I would go for a man who is 10 years older than me?
Well, sure, why not?
I totally would. I totally would.
Yeah, 10 years. I think 10 years was at the very. That's like the most I would have ever considered was a 10-year difference. Like that would have been the max in either direction.
Ugh, sounded.
I feel like more than that, and he's like, you just don't understand what you miss too much. Like
Too much pop culture.
culturally, you're almost in a different generation. Almost.
Oh, when you're saying are you talking about me or are you talking about
No, like
This-
hypothetical
the
person
hypothetical
that's like
person.
more than 10 years apart.
I won't date anyone who grew up on Paw Patrol.
Ew.
Oh,
yeah.
I sure as hell hope not. You'd be doing something borderline illegal.
I don't think that's borderline. It's just illegal.
They'd still be a
Yes,
minor.
It's illegal.
Yes.
I don't know what year it came out. I was gonna
They'd
say
still be a
71,
minor.
but
I'm pretty
it's
sure
like
they'd
30 years old now.
they'd still be a minor. Yeah, I think. Anyway,
That was an exaggeration, Richard.
Okay, I will have you know
I went too far.
that you went too far. No, you didn't. You're good. You're good.
yeah, he won't date anyone who was born after Y2K. We'll put that.
Oh,
Maybe that's
man.
safer.
I
A
won't
little.
date anybody because I'm married. How about that?
Yes, exactly. All right, so
This is
The Crow.
Wow. I need to take a nap after this part of the conversation. This was old. This took a lot out of me.
Well,
Okay, no, not well. Richard's not 10 years older than
Oh.
me. I want everyone to know that.
yeah, 6 years.
Only 6.
Only
Okay.
6.
And barely that. Let's keep going.
No, that's
No, let's keep it a
And
mystery.
Richard's
Let's keep
older than
going.
I am, so I guess the math all checks out.
Let's continue. Let's
The Crow.
continue.
Okay, so the basics. So we have Eric Draven is the protagonist, the
Is he
main
white?
character. No,
course. No.
actually, well,
What mixed signals?
I
What
can't
is it,
speak-
you guys?
Everybody is white in superhero comics. It's the white messiah complex.
I actually don't know because the original comics
Yeah,
are
that's
are
true.
black and white, so you wouldn't be able to tell very
That
easily.
is- Did you just hear what he said, Will? Did you just hear what he said,
They're
Will?
in black and white.
So you wouldn't
They're-
be able to tell?
Very easily. Like it depends on if you gave him
I wish everyone
distinctive
could see my
features.
face. I
Like,
wish everyone could see my face.
but in this movie, he's played by Asian American Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee. Do you know who Bruce Lee?
Who's Bruce Lee? I'm kidding.
Okay,
Will,
I thought you at
relax.
least knew who Bruce Lee was.
Golly.
I looked at her and I was like, what?
But you know what is? I can't say much because I still have not seen a Bruce Lee movie. So
I can't remember if I have or not, but at least I know who he is.
yes, I know who he is. I know that I've seen the
That's more
scene
awesome
where he
than
fights.
Thank you.
Well, his son
Not
Brandon,
anything.
his son Brandon Lee plays the main character,
Okay.
Eric Craven, and his girlfriend Shelley. So the film begins effectively with he and his girlfriend Shelley getting attacked, and it gets very serious right off the bat. some lowlifes who we later find out are working for like
I'm
a.
gonna sneeze. How do I turn this off?
Just turn it down, like the little switch.
How do I turn this up?
Just put the switch down. There you go.
Sneeze in that direction.
Sneeze into your elbow like a normal person. You're supposed to do that to protect people. Like,
That doesn't protect
You-
people from
you gotta
holes.
turn it.
6
Did you
days
turn
a
it back
week,
on?
Organization will fall
Okay,
apart
cool.
if I'm sick.
I have allergies. Golly.
Okay, so the basics.
I'm
Eric
sorry.
No,
Eric
you're
Craven.
Not. No, you're not.
I laughed myself into a muscle.
Oh no.
Oh, will hurt. You know you're old
down.
when
You
you hurt
sneeze.
yourself laughing.
That's what I get, karma.
I'm sorry,
Karma,
buddy.
bitch.
That's
Okay.
so sad.
Oh, I
No, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Everyone, he is on the floor.
Okay.
No,
Can't
yeah,
get
he's
up.
writhing.
Richard, help him get up.
He's like doing a spin around the room and going. Whoop, 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 whoop.
No, let's not. Let's not.
Let's go further back into
Let's
the
not go
nostalgia
further back.
universe.
Let's not.
Okay. So back to Eric Craven
They
and,
get
and
assaulted.
Shelley.
Continue.
So some lowlifes who are working for a local mob boss, gang leader, sort of. Anyway, they come in. They're trying to kick them out, and in doing so, they decide, like, they're all high on drugs, and they go wild. They beat up and rape his fiance.
No.
And they shoot him to death and throw him out of.
Did you? It happened though, Will.
Well, yeah, you know what's
Oh,
happened.
something
You know
happened to
what's
Will
happening.
Beck.
Yeah,
Again?
yeah. Ah,
Oh no.
Oh man.
Oh no, Will's.
So you-
just
boy.
gonna try to suffer silently. I'm sorry.
Do we need to switch chairs? Mine's cushier.
No, it's right here. It's
In your back.
That one does have better back
Get
support.
up off the floor, Will. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay.
I've been on the floor for the last 5 years, and darn it,
no.
I'm not getting up now. Okay, I'm sorry, Richard. We're
So this implied rape that wasn't implied because it actually happened. It was just happened off.
Yeah,
off
they
camera.
don't. They show enough that you know what happens.
So sad.
So-
absolutely.
Like
Oh,
they
it's so
they
sad.
shoot him initially. He's not dead, and so but he's just laying there. I think semi-paralyzed, and he has to watch it happen.
Oh.
She gets raped and beaten. She dies later after 30 hours in the hospital.
This is the worst. What is this?
It's very rough. Very rough right out of the
comic
gate.
book is a little different.
Is it?
Yeah, she dies immediately, and he dies later in the hospital.
Ah.
Comic book. Also, it was
Spoilers.
Is what?
it was a car hijacking in the comic book
Okay.
because was it Obar? I think Obar was the creator.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. His fiance died in a car wreck, and that's what inspired him to do The Crow. Drunk driver.
Yes.
All of this
So that's
is
getting into
sad.
backstory about the person who created it, but
Well, it seemed like the appropriate time to say that.
yeah, no. So that's how it kicks off, and that is, like Will was saying, that's some of what the personal gravitas behind the storyline. And they were young too. I'm gonna get his first name wrong. James O'Barr. So, but he was I think 18, and
Wow.
they had to wait till they graduated high school before they were going to get married. And I don't know. Do you know the full story? Did you want to
No,
tell
I
it?
don't. I just read the Wikipedia article. I'm not sure where you're getting the full story from. I didn't see that.
I was able to get a copy of the Crow graphic novel on Kindle for 50 cents right now, which is
Great.
didn't seem right,
I
but
want to.
and I didn't like I downloaded it, but I haven't had a chance to actually get into the graphic novel itself yet. But I did read the introduction by the author. This was written back in 2010. So he says about kind of what happened to him that inspired the creation of the comic. He said, "There's been this is quote. There's been endless gossips about what actually happened to the girl who was Shelley." So the character Shelley is inspired by his fiance. "And I'd like to set the record straight once and for all. It all comes down to this. I was a careless teenager who hadn't paid his car insurance. The local cops knew my car on site, so I phoned the girl who was Shelly and said, "Sweetie, why don't you pick me up? I really can't afford another ticket right now." It was one of those defining moments when your life suddenly turns sideways for no goddamn good reason, a series of choices that trip and fall like dominoes, ending in irreversible consequences. On her way to her car to pick me up, she was run down by a drunk driver, killed on the spot. But in my mind, in some sort of distorted monkey logic, I was responsible. If only I'd paid my car insurance. If only I'd waited 10 more minutes to call. If only I'd said, "I'll just see you tomorrow, pumpkin." If.
Sad.
Sad.
So he had a lot of anger at himself, anger at the drunk driver, I'm sure, and just he drove that in some unhealthy directions. It sounds like drugs were involved to a certain extent in the first few years there, but eventually he channeled a lot of that into the comic. And the basic story of The Crow is that, at the beginning, Eric Draven and his fiancée are both killed, and then now this is how it goes in the movie. I don't know if it's exactly how it goes in the comics in terms of timeline, but a year later in the film,
Yes.
essentially a crow comes, and they've already established at this point that crows can be like a connection from the afterlife to this life, and the crow comes in and essentially resurrects him, but it's for a specific purpose so that he can wreak havoc and seek revenge on the men who killed and raped his fiancée and himself.
What do you mean resurrect him? How? He's not. Is he dead? He's not dead.
Yeah, he's been dead for a year at that point.
Oh.
So he like comes out of the grave and everything.
Oh, that's
And there's
fun.
a difference between the movie and the comic book at this point. In the movie, he heals himself, but in the comic book, he's just a walking zombie. He does not heal, but he's also invulnerable because he's a zombie. Also, the bird in the comic book is a spirit being that only Eric Draven can see and cannot be killed, which we'll get into later as we discuss the film. I'm not sure which version I prefer, but the only version I've actually consumed is the movie, of course.
Yeah, and then you've heard some plot points.
Yes.
You've heard some plot points and stuff from the comics. But anyway, that's the basics. Like, he comes back, and the rest of the movie is about him, primarily about him seeking revenge, but he does make some human connection along the way.
So Asian John Wick.
Did he look Asian?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, I thought.
I mean, he wore paint most of the
I'm
movie.
referring to the movie.
You can't really tell in the film, but obviously the actors. I don't know if both his parents were Asian, and obviously his father was.
I think
but,
his mom was not
yeah.
Asian,
Could be.
but I didn't research that part. That's just something I think I remember from a long time ago.
Yeah, like Brandon, he does look. That would make some sense. I've seen his picture like without all the makeup on, and he doesn't look. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure about parentage on that side, but obviously his father, Bruce Lee,
Yes.
is.
It's all conjecture until we Google it.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, that was not a requirement for the part because some other actors that they were considering were River Phoenix, and I cannot think of the other actor that they were looking at, but River Phoenix was one who also died tragically not too long after this film, I think.
Darn if you do. Darn
Not
if you
related,
don't.
not related at all. His was an overdose.
Oh, okay.
But so that's how it starts out. So it's a revenge fantasy, and he succeeds in his revenge, and that's for the most part is what the movie is about. But along the way, he does help a young girl named Sarah, who's like 12 or 13, thereabouts, and also gets help from and also helps to a certain extent a cop played by Ernie Hudson, and so that's the basics of the movie.
And there were like
This
three
is
sequels.
why I drive to the nearest grocery store. bum 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 dum 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 dum
Well,
dum
I'm not.
bum
I
bum
guess
bum
anything could happen,
bum
but
bum.
I don't like to think about those possibilities.
Well, yeah, because you're like 6 feet tall, aren't you? Are you 6
A
feet tall?
car can still kill me if it hits me.
A car's not gonna rape you. But no, like
Oh,
are
I
you
thought
6
we were talking about the real life Shelley, not the fictional Shelley. I'm sorry.
No, I was just I
Which
just
I don't know the fiance's name. I'm
No.
just.
dum dum bum 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 bum.
He doesn't
bum,
mention it
bum.
here, and that's personal to him, so he
No, of
doesn't need to
course.
mention it.
People who watch
No.
Law and Order SVU will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Bum, dum, 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 dum,
It's Laura's favorite show
bum,
currently.
Oh, that's what you're humming. Okay. That's what you're scatting. You're not humming, you're scatting.
Yeah, so I feel like this would be a little bit of a way in because you get to see some rapists and murderers get their comeuppance, not legal
What'd you
justice.
Say that again.
Their comeuppance.
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 What the hell is that? Is that you?
Comeuppance.
My phone made a
Comeuppance.
noise.
All right, let's go to the movie.
Yeah. So I thought I could actually
1994.
So I could read through the plot, and you can jump in, we can interrupt, we can go off on tangents.
No.
No?
Sorry, keep going.
What do you
Go
think?
off on many tangents as you went. Let's do that.
Well, I just mean like this will be like a structure for the discussion, but it doesn't have to be rigid. So
Ah,
on
I held back so many comments just now.
on Devil's Night, which sounds like a made-up thing, but on Devil's Night,
Probably.
in a crime-ravaged and decrepit Detroit, a young woman, Shelley Webster, is raped and seriously wounded while her rock musician fiancé, Eric Draven, is shot and thrown to his death from the window of their loft apartment.
Which I kind of like better than what I read the comic book did.
Oh, like flipped it around where he was alive longer.
No, I like how the action is centralized on the apartment. And the apartment existed both in the movie and the comic, but according to Wikipedia, the actual killing was a car hijack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that I think I like how the movie makes the apartment central.
It makes it more
Plot.
personal too. Like,
yeah.
like they broke into their home and were trying to kick them out so that this guy could become like a slumlord or something. And he wanted their apartment. So, and then his
pause.
goons went too far.
Pause. This was in the comic book or the movie?
The movie.
Just the movie.
The movie that you guys saw.
Right.
Continue with the snuffles.
Yeah, and this is obviously a synopsis of the movie plot. Let's see. Police Sergeant Daryl Albrecht accompanies Shelley to the hospital, but she eventually dies from her injuries. A narration, I think by Sarah, the young girl, she's kind of like the narrator, beginning and the end of the movie. A narration states the legend of a crow that carries souls to the land of the dead. If the person died in tragic circumstances, the crow can resurrect their restless spirit to set things right. 1 year later, Shelley's and Eric's graves are visited by Sarah, a young girl the pair cared for due to her absent mother. So her mom was like drug addict, prostitute, like just not... Yeah, it's rough. A crow lands on Eric's gravestone and taps on it, resurrecting him. Disoriented and distressed, Eric returns to his ravaged loft apartment and experiences flashbacks of the murders. A gang of men, Tintin, Funboy, T-Bird, and Skank.
Those are not real names.
Yeah.
They're 90s names. 90s
Well, it's probably their
names.
Skank, T-Bird.
it's their gang names, I guess.
Tintin.
What's your gang name gonna be, man? Funboy.
My goodness.
Skank. My name's gonna be Skank. I'm Tintin. No. Yeah, it's definitely over the top in that way. All right, so they targeted the pair because they were protesting. Oh, okay, this makes more sense. They were protesting the forced evictions in their apartment building, so it wasn't just random. It wasn't just that they wanted their apartment. Like, the two of them were actually sticking up for their neighbors and their home. That's cool. I kind of like that.
See.
So they were protesting the forced evictions in their apartment building with the gang's leader, ruthless crime boss Top Dollar, intended to seize. Realizing that any injuries he suffers are immediately healed, Eric dons black and white face paint and sets out to avenge himself and Shelley, guided by the crow. Which,
Wait, pause. Is that what it sounded like?
I mean,
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You saw the movie.
it sounds like a crow.
It sounds like.
I want to know if that's what they sound like.
I mean, you know, although technically the birds in the movie are actually ravens because apparently it's very difficult to train crows to do anything.
Because the little bitches. No, I have no idea.
They're so smart they won't listen to you. We
They're
have
like-
more important things to do.
So either the ravens are more gullible or they're smarter or both. I don't know.
I didn't
But-
know there was a difference.
I don't know. But apparently the ravens can be trained, so they use ravens in most movies that require crows, and this was no exception.
Abuse.
PETA would probably agree with you on that.
PETA.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna take a moment to talk about the costume design for Eric. Did you want to jump in there and talk a bit about the aesthetics, the costumes and stuff?
I actually have no
No
thoughts on that.
No thoughts. Okay. Well,
Did they wear stuff?
The makeup is cool.
so Eric, a good bit of the film, it kind of goes back and forth, but he's often shirtless, but he wears like black leather pants because he was in a rock band, so he was like a guitar player for a rock band, so he's wearing his rock band clothes basically. He's got like leather pants, and he has this big flowing leather trench coat that he wears,
So dramatic.
and leather biker boots as well, like
Oh my
black
goodness.
biker boots.
And it's not comfortable. Has anyone in this room has anyone worn leather in this room?
I have.
Like-
But not on
Leather
the
jacket.
skin.
No. Okay, so that's
Leather jacket.
okay.
I'm not weird.
Okay,
He has leather undies.
I do it.
I just stepped out of a Mad Max shooting.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's some weird stuff in that.
That's my alibi.
But the with the combined with the overall aesthetic, the production design, just the sets, it's always at night. Like they're always filming at night.
I wanted to mention that it's never daytime in this film.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
weird.
that very much sets the mood. It's very dark.
Yeah.
The city is dark, and it's supposed to be Detroit. They actually filmed in Wilmington, North
Wow.
Carolina, believe it or not. But a lot of the cityscapes, and you see like aerial views where the camera's following the crow, that kind of thing. Those were miniatures for the most part. Yeah, but it looks great. Like, and it sets the mood and tone really well. And his outfit just fits into that realm. But very goth. Like he's got his face is patterned after basically like a mannequin face, like white paint with like looks like tears almost,
Yeah.
black tears,
Crime clown.
and then black highlighting his mouth and
Did you say crime clown?
eyeliner kind of
Fine.
as well.
Oh,
Sad clown. A sad clown.
So he very much looks like a rock musician, you know.
oh.
Okay.
Sorry, I am. Who are we talking about?
The Crow, Eric Craven, who becomes like the Crow.
He's the guy with the fiance who got slammed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's the one that gets resurrected.
Okay, got
And
resurrected.
inexplicably has clown makeup on.
Okay, yes,
Clown.
clown.
At one point in the film, he and the crow, or not the crow's not jumping, but he and the crow are jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and there's barbed wire on the roofs, and I'm just like, who built this city? Tim Burton?
Oh,
Yeah,
it did remind me. The aesthetic reminded me a bit of Tim Burton's Batman, which I imagine
Yeah.
there was some inspiration drawn. Just like later, the opening scene of The Matrix is very reminiscent of scenes in this film, and also Batman Begins and The Dark Knight as well. They drew from some of those things.
cool.
And it is kind of that grimy, dirty, Gotham City back alley kind of feel to the city that he's in, which is supposed to be Detroit, and Detroit is not in the greatest of shape as I understand it. So. I'm assuming that was also true back in the 90s, but
Richard says as he gives a grimace face.
Yeah, I haven't been to Detroit in a long time, so I can't speak from personal
Been to
experience.
Detroit?
Oh yeah,
As-
years
You-
ago.
What?
Yeah, Detroit.
We need to talk later.
Holding this information back from
We
your wife?
need to have a few words. A few words.
Phew.
When
I
did
only-
you go to Detroit, Richard?
I only
You can continue.
I only flew into the airport, so I didn't really like drive
So
around.
all of this
Detroit.
conversation was a lie. We still need to have a few words. I don't appreciate your cackle.
Can you
Will.
tell me
I
a
don't.
few words?
I drove through Buffalo, New York once.
That's where my
Was that
people
for
are
the
from.
comic convention?
No.
What was that for?
I was on my way to Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
Or was it Toronto?
Toronto.
I think Toronto and then Ontario, right? Anyway,
Oh, that's right.
this
I
is-
forgot you went to Canada.
Yeah, this is beside the point. I just wanted to make a joke.
Canada.
Drugs.
It's like you just stopped in the
crime.
airport of Detroit. You didn't really go to Detroit. You
Yeah, I just went to the airport and got picked up.
Again,
So-
lies.
lies.
I didn't go through downtown Detroit, nor did I want to. So, the Crow leads Eric to Tintin, who Eric stabs to death. He next travels to the pawn shop, where Tintin had pawned Shelley's engagement ring. Eric recovers the ring and blows up the shop, but spares the owner. I don't know if I'd call that sparing. He
No, that's
he gives him like maybe a half a chance to get out, but he lights it while the guy's in there.
I just think that Eric didn't double check and look for a corpse. I think that's all that happened.
Well, according to this summarizer, he spared the owner. Either way, the guy survives and goes back to Top Dollar and tells him he's coming for you. Albrecht, this is the cop that his beat is there around where Eric lived. Albrecht begins investigating the apparent vigilante disturbances while Eric finds Funboy taking drugs with Sarah's estranged drug addict mother, Darla.
These names need to be something else.
He gives Funboy a fatal overdose, but purges the drugs from Darla's body, telling her that Sarah needs her.
Yeah, he actually puts his. I noticed this and I was like, "What?" He puts his hand on her arm, and the morphine. Is it morphine?
I guess, or heroin.
Yeah, heroin. That's it. And the heroin actually reverses course and
Flows out of
flows
her
out
arm.
of her needle hole in her arm. No, I was just like, did he just reverse flow that?
It was a
Needle
little
hole.
gross. It looked a little gross. And it looked like something else, too, which was like, ooh,
What it looked like, Richard? What do you think it looked like?
sperm.
Sperm. Why'd you have to say it like that? Why'd you have to say it like sperm?
Ejaculate?
Ew,
Yeah, you
that's
can,
not any
you
better.
could say that, too.
Okay.
But yeah,
Anyway.
it was
Semen.
a white, cloudy liquid.
The little
Navy
little
blue.
guys. The what?
Navy men.
Navy men.
Makes me think of the John Mulaney bit. I found fecal matter and semen in the victim's ear canal.
Dude.
Bum 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 bum
That
bum.
reminds me of
These
the
are
scary
two.
movie.
These are two real things I heard at 3:00 in the afternoon on network television.
Do, 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 do.
So
Or,
you should
Cats.
listen to John Mulaney's bit on Law and Order. It's great. She really likes Law and Order. SVU.
Bum 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 bum.
I tell you what, Law and Order Special Crimes Unit really disturbs my inner child sometimes.
Oh, that's so sad.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Um,
Unfortunately, produced by Dick Wolf. Like, change your first name, buddy. Come on. It's just weird. Dick Wolf. Sorry, Dick.
my brain has died. I wanted to say there was actually a really profound. I'm going to stop joking for a second and say something profound.
Do.
All right.
There was something that I found profound that the Eric Draven character told Darla in the mirror. That mother is the name of God for children. I just thought that was profound. I wanted to mention that. Also, we have failed to say that Albrecht was played by Ernie Hudson. I feel like
I mentioned that earlier,
did.
but she doesn't know who that is.
I have no clue.
He was in Psych. He played Gus's dad in Psych.
this is how you know him.
That'd be the only thing I could think of that you'd seen him in is Gus's dad in Psych.
The cop.
Is he a cop in Psych
Yes,
too?
he's a cop.
Okay.
That's why he's weird.
He's also
Because he mentally abused his son to
Wait.
be a psychic. Yes.
No. Gus's dad. Not Sean's.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Gus's dad, like
Gus's
they made
dad.
him he gets
I love
accused of
Gus.
murder in that one episode and all that.
I don't
you remember?
No, I don't.
Yeah, anyway,
Continue.
that-
Let's
that's
go
Ernie
ahead
Hudson.
Let's go back to the thing.
Speaking of quotes,
So,
here's some other
so
quotes.
we were talking about someone named Dick.
Dick Wolf. No,
Are
that
we getting off onto another tangent of quotes?
that was you were getting back to a tangent.
I was getting back to a tangent.
No, I was just looking at some of the quotes I wrote down while we were watching. Like Micah, who is the half sister / lover of Top Dollar. That's incest. No, sort of. But no, it's one point. At one point she's just looking up and she's like, "I like the pretty lights."
Why do you? What
I think it's supposed to be like really dark. They just killed somebody to death in the bedroom. I don't want to comment on that. And is this the same scene at all? I don't even know. But all she cares about is the lights. Lights are pretty.
I don't remember what scene that was,
I don't know.
Everyone in this movie needs therapy.
but I like
It's like Harley Quinn or something.
Albrecht gives a little bit of humor. In The Crow, it's more of like mocking his enemies, but he puts in a little bit of humor as well. But one of Albrecht's quotes, he had just seen The Crow or had to run in with The Crow, and he's like, "Guy shows up looking like a mime from hell." Anyway,
so funny.
those were fun. I thought they were worth writing down. And, oh yeah, last one, last funny one anyway. Like at the end, Albrecht comes to rescue the crow. Like he helps the crow, and it happens inside a church building. And the crow's like, "You helped me, thank you." And Albrecht's like, "I've been meaning to come to church anyway."
Wait, the crow can talk.
Yeah, not like
okay.
the bird, the crow, the superhero,
The
the
man,
crow.
the crow.
Eric.
There are two
Gotcha.
crows.
So,
Oh, so that makes sense.
did
I was
you
trying
have
to imitate your laugh. It didn't work.
Did you have any more quotes you want to share before I pick back up? No. Okay.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah. All right. So Eric visits Albrecht and confirms his suspicions regarding the vigilante's identity. Albrecht tells Eric that he stayed with Shelley until she died, witnessing the 30 hours of suffering she experienced. Eric touches Albrecht, absorbing the pain Shelley felt. So he can, like, skin-to-skin contact. He can absorb memories somehow, that kind of thing.
Oh, the baby's awake. What are we
Do we
gonna
need to pause? Pause.
Sure.
This podcast would not be successful without you, the listener. We are grateful for every download, comment, follow, and rating. While our main episodes will always be free, we do have some basic costs like hosting fees, marketing, and of course, the recording equipment and software we use. Would you consider supporting us with a monthly donation of $3, $5, $8, or $10? Just follow the link in the show notes or on our link tree to become a supporter now. Thank you so much, nerds. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
I'm now holding our daughter, so Will's going to pick up with the plot reading.
Eric touches Albrecht, absorbing the pain Shelley felt. Later, Eric saves Sarah from being hit by a car, revealing to her that he has returned. Eric, do you like my reading voice?
I do.
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually.
Continue.
Okay, because I'm like, it's like a mocking reading voice. Eric next targets T-Bird, killing him in an explosion. The following morning, Sarah and Darla reconcile and Sarah reunites with Eric at his apartment. Top Dollar holds a meeting with his associates to discuss his plans to burn the city to the ground on Devil's Night. Eric arrives for Skink, but a gunfight erupts, ending with Eric throwing Skink from a window to his death. Skink. Top Dollar, his lover and half-sister Micah, and his right-hand man, Grange, escape.
Oh, They didn't mention there's a massive shootout that happens there in between those events. Like he comes to that meeting, he's like, "I'm only here for Skank," and they're like, "You can't have him, bitch." And a massive gunfight ensues, and stylistically, it's when you see it, it's obvious that the Matrix, the big scene in the hotel lobby where they're just like running along the walls and running behind posts and shooting at each other and stuff. They borrowed some inspiration from this scene. It seems obvious to me. Like, that it had the flow of it felt very similar. Lots of guns, lots of shooting, and everyone but Eric, Top Dollar, and Micah are dead afterwards. So, just want to plug that in there.
Consider it plugged.
Go ahead, Will.
Satisfied with his vengeance. Wait, no, let me back up. Micah correctly hypothesizes that the crow is the source of Eric's immortality. Which, when this happens in the movie, I'm just like, how does she know that?
She's a witch.
Which?
She has some kind of connection to the spiritual world, I think. It's implied. But they don't go into detail, which I kind of like that they didn't bother to explain it. It's just like, you get it. It's like, okay, she's
Plot device.
she's got some kind of connection. I don't know if she was in the comics or not, but
I don't know either. Satisfied with his vengeance, Eric gifts Shelley's engagement ring to Sarah and returns to his grave. Grange abducts Sarah as she is walking home and takes her to an abandoned church with Micah and Top Dollar, who takes Shelley's ring. Eric is alerted to her plight by the crow and rushes to rescue her, but he is ambushed by Grange, and who wounds the crow, rendering Eric vulnerable. Albrecht arrives and kills Grange, while Micah attempts to take the crow for its immortality. I don't really know or understand how she thought she was going to be able to do that, but
somehow she wants to absorb the powers. She wants to steal his powers of immortality, so she's hoping to do that by capturing the crow. And in preparation, because we waited an extra day to record, I watched a bit of the next movie in the series,
cool.
which is
Cool.
It's basically a reboot with some tweaks to the story, but The Crow City of Angels is called. But in that one, the big baddie, kind of the equivalent of Top Dollar in this one, he gains the crow's powers by killing the crow and drinking its blood.
Oh.
So she was probably going to try something like that, I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But I did not understand how she thought she could do that. Thank you. So, Micah gets her eyes clawed out by the crow, because the crow does not like that, causing her to fall to her death from the bell tower. Top Dollar retreats to the church roof with Sarah, where he fights and badly wounds Eric. Eric transfers Shelley's pain into Top Dollar, causing him to stumble off the roof and be impaled on a gargoyle, killing him. Sarah and a wounded Albrecht are recovered from the church, while a painted Eric goes to Shelley's grave, where her spirit arrives to comfort him and return his body to rest. No, pained. I'm sorry, not painted. Why pained Eric?
He was painted, but
yeah.
Yes.
I was really curious why he was suddenly painted now and not before. Sorry. That was the angel I was talking about, by the way, earlier, is Shelley's spirit.
Oh, so not an angel. Like
Angelic.
more like a ghost. Yeah, angelic. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Sometime later, Sarah visits the graves and the crow returns Shelley's ring to her.
Cool. And that's it. That's it for the plot.
I'm.
Do you have questions?
Oh,
You look like you have questions.
First off, I really like your comic synopsis reading voice.
This is
Fun.
my comic reading voice.
It's fun. I like it.
You could probably do voiceover, Will. You got a nice, deep, resonant voice.
Yeah, you do, man.
In a world filled with
Waffles.
darkness,
Oh.
one man returns to seek vengeance.
I'm not really into vengeance stories. I did like Gladiator, but he was kind of forced into that position. But I don't like vengeance.
You're more about justice.
Just so much.
I was just
so much.
doing
okay?
your basic trailer voice.
Huh?
I was just doing your basic trailer voice in a world.
What?
Will's getting comfortable. He's mocking Laura now.
Okay.
No, I'm mocking people who do
No,
that
it was
trailer
directed
voice.
at it was directed at me, Will.
Okay.
Just own it. Just own it, man. It's fine. Yeah, so I'm not a vengeance person. That's not accurate. I don't like watching it on a movie. I don't enjoy it. I'm like, get over it. No, but I do like justice.
But my parents were killed in Crime Alley.
Is that a Batman thing?
Yeah, this is why you don't watch Batman, right?
No, I like Batman.
You do, but
She knows
he's
that part of the
vengeance.
story.
No, he's not. He is he's
Hey,
protecting
Will.
people.
I'm just picking. Okay.
I'll
I'm
cut-
just
I'll
picking.
cut
He's
the-
protecting people.
With vengeance.
No, he's not. He's scaring off. He wants
I'm
the
ju-
bad guys. Shush. He wants the bad guys to be afraid of doing stupid stuff, and so he's like protecting people. It's not like I'm gonna avenge my parents. No, he's not. I mean, he might feel
he-
that. Shush. He might feel that in there.
He literally
Superstitious and
he literally says, "I'm vengeance"
He does it in the comic or
in the movies.
But he's
in the cartoon.
No,
Everywhere.
Shush. All of you. Shush. No, but that's not. He might say that one time, but that's not the. That's not the plot.
It's part of it,
At the first movie, yeah, of absolutely.
but he's not killing people.
He's not killing.
He doesn't kill
unless
people.
it's a Tim Burton Batman.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
or Batman v Superman.
Yes.
but yeah, like it's not a movie surrounded around vengeance.
Or the Vampire Batman.
No, yeah, well, not murder vengeance, but
Yeah.
vengeance, yes. But he doesn't.
picking.
He tries
We're
to keep
picking.
himself from crossing that line. You know, he won't
Batman
go,
doesn't kill. Obviously, Eric Draven has no problems with this.
Yeah.
unless it's Batfleck. Batfleck can kill.
I don't understand.
That was after Robin died.
Okay, so how many should we go to Nerd Hats? Because I am fired up, but
Did you have any more questions?
no.
Are you sure?
I mean,
I'm with you, Laura, by the way. I don't prefer superheroes that just outright murder.
thank you, Will.
That's why I'm not a fan of The Punisher.
See that I haven't watched that because of the title. Like, it was dumb.
Well, we
Grow
could get...
up, you hippie! No, I'm just kidding.
This is not
I'm
the
just
time, but
kidding.
I could get an entire rant about The Punisher, but let's continue.
Ooh, fun. Okay,
That's a property
Maybe a very
I
short
have
one.
not visited much at all.
okay. Well, let's.
Gun violence.
I'm just like, okay. Was there character growth? No. Was there? Was there anyone in
Yeah,
the
there was character growth. Skank
no.
got real scared.
Revenge, though, isn't necessarily growth. It's just revenge.
Okay. Sarah's mother had character growth, and that was about it.
Was there any characters in this that either one of you identified with? That you're like, oh man, I totally relate.
I identify with Ernie Hudson.
Who's that?
He's a Ghostbuster.
Okay, but he
Buster.
wasn't in this.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he was?
Not
he
as
wasn't a
not
Ghostbuster.
as a Ghostbuster, but the actor.
Wait, that's Gus's dad, not his real dad.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
in Psych.
Oh, I thought it was his real dad. I was like, wow, that's
No.
small world.
I don't know what Dule Hill's father looks like, but it's not Ernie Hudson. I know that.
Ernie Hudson's kind of like
Okay.
the everyman in this film, I
But
think.
in this
In this film.
Okay.
It's kind of like that in the Ghostbusters too. Honestly,
Yeah, you know what? That's true.
he's
he was
good at.
the least annoying one.
Yes.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate that a lot.
But in the
My
newest
goodness.
Ghostbusters, he's like millionaire CEO.
Yeah. I love Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
That still sounds less annoying than all of the characters
Yeah.
combined. What about you, babe?
Oh, for Nerd Hats.
Yeah. No. Who did you relate to?
Oh, who did I relate to?
Yeah.
I don't know that I related in the sense of like, oh yeah, I've been through that. To anybody in particular.
Were there any characters?
Sure. You
Wait, no,
can, Richard.
shush. Shush.
I mean,
that time
Hey,
you got
no.
thrown through a window.
No, no, shush. I'm asking a question. Is there any characters?
Like, I mean-
Shh. Were there any characters you liked?
I like Albrecht, and I did like I liked Eric Craven. I liked his character. Like, he's very compelling. I thought it was acted well by Brandon Lee.
Yes.
Yeah, and the writing was reasonably good. I think in terms of likability, just pure likability, Albrecht, the Ernie Hudson character is the most likable. But you do very much grow to care about Eric as well, because he shows grief, obviously over his fiance's death, and he has to wrestle with survivor's guilt, and then he also shows compassion to Sarah and gets involved there and helps her.
Okay, so he's not just a
Yeah, like
two-dimensional character.
yeah, it humanizes him, and I thought Brandon Lee did a good job portraying the softer side in addition to the vengeance side. So yeah, I thought that his character was probably the most compelling, and he's supposed to be. Obviously, he's the main protagonist, but they pulled that off, I thought, and so I think you can relate to the grief and maybe to a certain extent the anger. Although I've obviously never had anyone that has been murdered that I was close to, but I can imagine what that would be like. But in terms of just likability, I think Albrecht is my favorite on that front. And I think he's supposed to fill that role as well. I think he's kind of like he's an audience surrogate in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought overall, I was trying to think. I'm kind of borderline between 3.75 and 4, like with Nerd Hats. So I think I'm gonna give it a 4.
3.74.
It's like there are a few things that I found a little clunky, like a few detractors. Like they did some jump cuts that were just they used it a little too much in certain scenes, and that kind of took me out of the film a bit. But overall, like the aesthetic was just beautiful film. Like in terms of visually and the production design, it was well acted. The pacing was good. I thought like it doesn't drag. So yeah, I thought it was very solid. So I think I'm going to say 4. How about you, Will?
Will took a deep breath before responding. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 too. Initially when we first watched it, my wife was like, what Nerd Hats do you give it? And we both said 4. I'm going to stick with that. If we compare it to other films, I'm not sure if it would keep with the 4, but for what it is, just judged by itself, it was I thought it was good. I actually was impressed by, even though they did rewrite a few things from the comics, it kept that comic book feel to it.
Yeah, very much so.
I was impressed that they honored the source material, made it better actually in some ways. I mean,
and I think obviously the James O'Barr was significantly involved with the screenplay, so
and
that's
I was
good.
expecting it would
Yeah,
be.
so he had input in all of that, like, which I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, exactly. I did not know that, but I could just tell from watching it that he must have been involved.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
when Brandon Lee, the main star, died in an accident towards the end of shooting, and that's one of the reasons the film is so well known as well.
Yeah.
It was a gun mishap on set, and he ended up dying.
No. Oh,
Yeah, the
stop
main-
it. On
The
set.
main actor.
Well, he died in the hospital later, but he was accidentally shot on set.
Of this movie?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the
no.
actor, and he died later.
That is so bad.
Brandon Lee, who played the superhero.
That is so bad.
It is.
So that really hit
no.
that really hit James O'Barr hard, because he's like, he already blamed himself for his fiance's death, and then he's like, damn, if I had never written this thing, Brandon would still be here. So he struggled a lot with that in the days after.
Yeah.
But apparently Brandon Lee's fiance actually really helped pull him back from the edge with that. She was just like super strong and source of hope and things for him. So he's like, wow, she was, if anybody is a saint, it was her, I think he said. So it's very tragic. Anyway, getting back to what you were saying, well, you you were saying 4 nerd hats for you.
Yeah, 4 nerd hats. Like I said, compared to other films, that nerd hat rating would change. I still think Godzilla -1 is, just to give a random example, it doesn't have to be Godzilla -1. I preferred over this film, but
Not Aquaman.
no.
Not Aquaman 2.
But it was better than Beetlejuice 2. Which,
Yeah.
by the way,
I still haven't seen yet.
see it. We did not discuss it on this podcast, but I did see Beetlejuice 2, and at first I really hated it, or really was disappointed in it. It was better, but I've come to forgive it.
Sorry, keep going. That's great. That's great. That's
yeah.
great. Keep
I
But
going.
we're
forgive
not
you,
here to talk
Beetlejuice
about Beetlejuice
squared.
2.
That'll be our next episode.
Beetlejuice. All right. Cool. Well, we both agree. 4 nerd hats out of 5 for this film.
I'm not going to see it because it sounds depressing, but it does sound good.
It's very
It sounds very good, but I don't want to see it.
okay.
Only because it's sad.
It is very sad. And
very
I,
sad.
can't-
for that reason, I would, if I had to rate it based on rewatchability, I would rate it lower, just based on that alone. Because it would take me a while. I'd need to be in the mood and then probably be a few years before I rewatched it. But although that being said, I did watch the quote unquote sequel shortly afterwards. So, which it basically retells the story with some changes, and it did a pretty good job too. And visually, also gorgeous film,
Okay.
City of Angels.
I mean, is it the same story, or is it just is it new characters?
same beats, but characters are a little bit different.
Okay.
And it's tweaked around some.
Yeah, I heard in some of the comic books in the late '90s they had like 5 miniseries and a one shot, all centering around different avatars of the Crow.
That makes sense because apparently each of the 5 movies before this reboot, the Crows has a different name in each one. So
Yeah.
so I guess
right.
maybe comes back in different form, so to speak.
I don't think it's Eric Draven. I think
No,
it's
it's not.
like the Crow bringing back a new victim to right a wrong. But I haven't seen it. But that's what I'm getting when I read that.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Thanks, guys, for sticking with us. Until next time,
Sayonara.
live long and prosper.
Goodbye.
Nerds, Richard here. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. While you wait for the next one, I would like to invite you to connect with us online. There are several ways you can do that. You can follow us on Instagram at NerdHatPod, find and like us on Facebook at NerdHat, subscribe to our YouTube channel, NerdHat Entertainment, and of course, you can follow us on all the major podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. Join us next time as we talk about more nerdy shit. Live long and prosper, nerds.